It's been a pretty long week for Apple especially, and tomorrow we'll only kick up more information. It's been 1 week, or it's been over a week since I started this podcast, but we've had our first Monday to Sunday week, and as it's been our first Monday to Sunday week, I think it's only right that we do a weekly roundup of all the interesting tech news. So this has been done out digital world, and let's get started. So this main topic that I can probably somehow manage to tie into basically every single other topic or a lot of other topics is Apple. Apple have had a very, to be honest, not the best week, especially with WWDC coming out next week. They started off fairly quickly at the beginning with a small lawsuit, and at the beginning of my podcast, they started off with a small lawsuit and just announcing a few extra changes to Mac Pro and also the MacBook Pro. Those looked very nice, and the Mac Pro looks very consumer friendly. But as a lot of people who are in the development community will know, there's definitely a lot of non-developer friendly stuff going on in Apple's App Store and in their ecosystem. So we started, I think it was on Monday, when the Hey email app, which was created by the people who are behind Basecamp, was initially actually accepted into the App Store. And this is where the confusion lies. Now, it was originally accepted, but then they went to submit a bug fix, and it was then denied. They went to appeal this decision, and the letter they got back was that their app was actually originally approved in error, and that they should never have been approved in the first place, and if they wanted to continue submitting bug fixes, then they would have to provide the user with a way to subscribe to their Hey email service in the iOS app, not only giving Apple 30% of their revenue, but also possibly shortening the amount of features that people can have. They provide multiple discount services for different types of people. They provide multiple services, and that's all handled through their payments processing. If you handle this through Apple, you have to do one price for everybody. There is no skirting around it. So that's kind of started off the main part of the bad PR. And now we're almost a week later, when Apple will be doing their WWDC conference. So let's go through the main events. So as I just said, the first one was Hey and for 30% premium. Now this story does go back to last year, with Spotify launching anti-competitive complaints against Apple for their App Store, due to the 30% premium, the developers are not allowed to link to another way to pay outside of the App Store. And see, they were at that time unable to get Siri integration. Now, I do think I actually remember hearing Siri integration has since been added and remedied, which is very nice to hear. However, it's still not, I don't believe it's still the default. And this is all kind of where this sort of thing stems from. Apple has a very big part of it where they just kind of simplify it in the ease of making it quick for the consumer. I personally don't have a problem with this. It's very good for the consumer. As they do say, having it simplified makes it really easy for the customer. They have one app screen that they can search. Just swipe through. You can get that on Samsung or on any Android device that you want. All you have to do is create a swipeable list of apps. And if you really want it on anything else, and you can do it on any app thing. It's not like it's an Apple iOS only feature. It's just that you have to customize a little bit to get it. But the way that Apple's locked everything down, you can't set default apps, you can't install apps from outside of the App Store without doing a massive back route. It's very, I'm still going to say this word, it's definitely very anti-competitive from my eyes. Their Apple Music, they obviously get all the profits from that, but for Spotify, they are on two decisions. They can either offer premium through the App Store, and there they get two separate decisions: either lose 30% of their revenue, or increase their revenue, so that the 30% just brings it down to their standard rate, but also increasing rates for any iOS users, or just don't have a way to do in-app to get a subscription easily on an iOS device. For Spotify, if you want to subscribe in the only device you have at iOS, they can't even link or say, go to the Spotify website. They can't do that. And today I was on Now TV's app actually, and I'm going to sign out again to double check this. But last I checked, it said you need an account, and yeah, there was no account. Yeah, so I'm on the Now TV app and I just signed out. It says in order to use the Now TV app, you need a Now TV account. There's no link to it. The only links on it are forgotten your password, which is a small way for them to allow that to get around it, and also the Now TV app. And you can't sign up for a Now TV app though inside of the app. Now with Spotify, it's not quite as bad. You can sign up for the account within the app, but again, it doesn't actually allow the in-app purchases. And yes, you could say, well, Spotify just eat 30% of their revenue. That revenue has to go to artists so that they can keep their platform up. They don't exactly it's not free for them to get this sort of thing. They have to pay money back to, especially the bigger artists. So when they're chart, and they can either get that through two ways: people listening to ads or people paying the premium. So it's very kind of unlucky. Meanwhile, Apple obviously don't have that problem because it's built in, so they don't have any 30% premium on their revenue. They don't have anything, and that's where this came from last year. This week we've had multiple complaints from multiple companies that include Epic and Rakuten. Epic Game CEO Tim Sweeney and Rakuten, an ebooks supplier. Even Microsoft have complained about this, and they show up at Apple events to show off things that they're able to do. So, they've got a small partnership going with Apple in terms of Microsoft Office apps, and they earn a lot of money from it. Now, another thing about Apple, which I don't think is bad, but would be a nice option, is the ability to customize your launcher. Most iOS users might not like this, and in fact, they might just straight up not even notice it when it does come out. But it would still be nice to see that, because if I could make my iOS device function a little bit more like my Android device, or at least have a very similar user interface to it, that would be quite nice for my coherency. I'll be able to have a nice coherent experience on all of my devices. Also, linking to computers. On Android, I've got my computer is set up so it can connect to my Windows computer, which I believe... No, so I'm currently on Linux actually, so that's a bit of an inaccuracy. But it's set up to connect to my Windows computer every time I swap over to Windows. And it's also set up to swap over to Linux. Guess what? Every time I swap over to Linux, I don't have to do any extra stuff. Once I set it up the first time, it's been fully set up ever since. And that is something I would like to see Apple do, not just for Mac, because obviously with Mac it's very nice, very easy. I'd like to see them open up, say, notification permissions at least. If they could just open up notification permissions, so another app can access your notifications and send it over to your PC. Literally all I need. File sharing, added bonus. The fact is, Apple's permission structure is really locked down. So again, if you've got an iOS device, you can't even transfer files to your computer just by plugging it in. I tried to find ways, as far as I'm aware, there's no way to access the files for the photos. You have to back them up to either iCloud or a third-party storage drive. I use Google Photos because I get free unlimited storage, and just hope that all of them get uploaded. It's very reliable, obviously, but it's kind of a bit of a back route again. And even then, obviously, it's not perfect because I can't sync all of my stuff directly to every single device just relying on that. Again, it's not perfect. Now, don't get me wrong, they have made strides. These companies are making strides to try and do whatever they can to help, and I definitely appreciate that. But again, it's another showing of just how these things function. you can't sign up for Netflix without having to try to figure it out for yourself. It really is degrading the user experience, and they say it's all in an effort to simplify it. But the fact is, they either have to make the customers, if they sign up for the App Store as well, they have no way to change the way that their account is paid for. So if you start the payment process through the App Store, there is no way to change that. You are then locked in to having an iOS device for the rest of your life, because you need the iOS device to cancel your subscription. I think. Yeah. You either need the iOS device to cancel your subscription, or you might be able to cancel it online. But again, the fact is, that shouldn't even be something that you have to worry about. You should just be able to go online and say, actually, I don't want this anymore, I'm going to cancel it. If I got a Google subscription, I can cancel it. If I got a subscription, and yeah, I've chosen to do it through Google because it's easier, I will admit, I'm not arguing against in-app purchases, they are so much more convenient. I just think about the 50% tariff, the 30% tariff is too high. And I know a lot of developers, especially indie developers, definitely agree. Now, that's kind of the main story though. The EU have opened 2 investigations into Apple's practices. So personally, I'm hoping it doesn't come down too badly for them, just because I don't want to see them in too much trouble. That could be devastating as well, especially for all of us. But I also don't really want to see them just kind of skirt over it and get away with it. So I'm hoping that it doesn't end up, it's kind of a middle ground. Now, apart from the Apple stuff, there's actually been a few interesting things this week, and I'm going to have to wrap my brain over it. So, the PS5 reveal was technically last week, but I'm going to cover it in this week's weekly roundup, as I'm technically doing from the start to now. So, PS5 has been revealed. What a reveal it was amazing. They have so many games. Microsoft is definitely under pressure for July's event. Hopefully they can pull something out of the bag, but if it doesn't even... I don't think they could beat Sony with their reveal, just because Sony revealed kind of everything in one massive announcement, more like a traditional E3 year. Meanwhile, Microsoft have revealed a lot already, so they don't have as much to reveal, unless they have, obviously, the lower priced Xbox Series S console. They have so many consoles with different names now. It's ridiculous. PS5, easy. Xbox One S, Xbox Series S. It's just a bit of a nightmare, not gonna lie. They could obviously have some major announcements. I'm really hoping for amazing new IP. They've got so many studios now. If they can't somehow make some of the best IP we've seen, I will personally be a bit, I won't be too happy about it, because I just think that Microsoft, with all of their money, easily have a resource to spend on talent. So, they're not short for money to spend on their talent. And from what Phil Spencer has said as well, is that this is a bit paraphrasing here, but Microsoft have kind of given them free will over the price. They're willing to eat a loss, even if only temporarily, to get Xbox to be the dominant platform again. That was what Phil Spencer said. They got permission from Phil Spencer to go very competitive with their pricing. So all of these people saying that the Series X will be more expensive than the PS5. You have to remember that we're currently looking for PS5 from $400 to even $700 US. That kind of the price ranges I think we've got here. I think it might actually be $500 to $700 US. That's the price range. As for the Xbox, we just know it will be competitive. It'll be decently priced. That might mean it's only $500, that might even mean it's $400, or it could mean if Sony goes $700, we see Microsoft go $650. Who knows where they're going to go with this? This generation is going to be expensive, I think, though, and for good reason. I definitely understand it. However, I just think that in terms of this event now coming up in July, it's definitely a very high pressure event. Their last big E3 reveal that was for a whole new generation was in 2013. They completely messed it up. Phil Spencer does definitely seem to be going in a much better direction, but I really want to see that commitment from him as the new generation goes in with their main reveal for the games. Now, another fairly big story was EA Play was last week. Yesterday, I think it was either yesterday or Friday. Again, I really can't remember the days. I do so many of these out. No, Friday. I did my EA Play kind of covering. And okay, I'll be the first to admit it was not the most exciting EA Play, but there is Star Wars Squadrons, which I am definitely looking forward to. I think, yeah, it's just going to be amazing. Star Wars Squadrons, I'm looking forward to it. Also, the fact that you can do the entire thing in VR. PlayStation fans, you should be really happy about that if you've got PSVR, especially on PS4, because we know it's supported. And obviously, if you've already got a PC headset, then and you're going to be buying this on PC, which I imagine you would be if you've got enough power for a gaming headset, you're going to have a nice time. I'm definitely jealous of both of you with VR headsets right now. I don't know anything about Oculus Quest, but as far as I'm aware, that's not going to happen. EA also announced Skate 4. That is something I was not expecting. Skate 3 was the last game in that franchise. That was an Xbox 360 game. To now see Skate 4 being announced, however many years later that is, absolutely mind-blowing and definitely good to see. EA Sports, on the other hand, have announced some updates. A career mode bonus perk for FIFA 21 Ultimate Edition, and anyone who purchases the edition of FIFA 21 will also be getting, homegrown talent, a local youth prospect with world-class potential as a bonus in there. So it's a small bonus that's in there in the... Is that Champions Edition? So you can scout a future star, is what we're thinking I believe that is, as far as I can tell, probably from Champions Edition and upwards. I'm going to check. Loading on Twitter, but as far as I'm aware, that Champions Edition is upwards. So that's going to be good. It kind of gives you the opportunity to scout with future stuff, which is very nice. So again, I'm definitely looking forward to this. And if this reveal is even half of what, and if these games are going to be half of what they're hyped up to be, especially the graphics, now that consoles are caught up with PC, possibly surpassing a good few of them, we're in for a treat with graphics. So I'm definitely looking forward to the next generation. I hope all of you are as well. That's going to be exciting. And finally, that was my Stadia experience. So as I said yesterday, I've currently been experiencing it as fairly unusable. xCloud is along the same lines. I gave xCloud another try today before I gave Stadia another try. xCloud is definitely usable. However, I am going to do a review after a month. However, I'll also do a review later this year as it's been out for longer. If I can still access Destiny 2 on Stadia, I probably won't be able to. But if I still have a way to access Destiny 2 on Stadia, I might just have to use a new account. Then I will do a trial. And then I will do a secondary review of how I think it is. And that is only because my phone's Bluetooth connectivity problems are there a little bit. So I think when I get a new phone, it'll be a good chance for me to kind of do a new review. It's with brand new Bluetooth capabilities. So that will come in. I will have a new phone in roughly 3 months. If you want to see me do an unboxing, actually, I could start off a YouTube channel and do an unboxing on there, do a few unboxings. I maybe even have a few video episodes, I don't know, some video chats and stuff with maybe YouTubers and other people in there. I don't know, I'm spouting off ideas here. This is the weekly roundup. But it's definitely been a very interesting week, especially for Apple. I hope tomorrow kind of doesn't go too badly for them. Because, you know, no matter what, I think they should definitely be able to do it. So they should definitely be able to maybe remedy some of this in iOS 14. There were definitely some rumours a while ago, I think, about them possibly allowing default app changing. So that could be good to see, and it could also end a few things going towards the anti-competitiveness. Let's just hope they do it. But just to recap, Apple's been having some serious issues over the last week. PlayStation's revealed the PS5, massive, and definitely put Microsoft on the back seat there. And if I'm right, then our third thing was EA. So 2 definitely good things for the normal consumer. Also about Star Wars Squadrons, EA has finally learned their lessons with in-app purchases. None on Star Wars Squadrons, even though it's an online multiplayer game. I don't know what's going to be going on with FIFA 21. I imagine there'll still be some surprise mechanics on loot boxes. I don't know. But it's definitely going to be good. So let's hope that that's going to be good. And that is kind of everything for this week. Stay tuned for later at about between 8 and 10. I know it's a very long time frame. I'll have today's daily news roundup, and that's going to be amazing. So hopefully there's some amazing news. In fact, I know there's some pretty good news because I'm literally looking at some of the news that's out right now, and I can almost guarantee you that there is going to be, I am guaranteeing you right now, there is going to be an Amazon story. So that has just been saved. Full preview for what's to come. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this week's roundup. Next week's will be a little bit more, it'll be a little bit more fluid. So, and a little bit more kind of in-depth, because I'm covering just over a week's worth of content. So it's a bit harder to do and nail down on specific companies that have had a lot going on. See you later tonight, and I hope you enjoy this weekly roundup.